Conversation with award-winning author and renowned astrologer Linda Shaw, who has a new book titled Horoscope Hotties, Finding the Best Lovers in the Zodiac. And she joins us now. Welcome back, Linda. I hope you're still with us.
Yes, I'm still here.
Great stuff. You know, Linda, I've received so many messages from viewers asking me to ask you to tell them about their different star signs, because everybody is so desperately looking for love. Now, I want you to point us in the right direction as to some of the things to look out for when it comes to looking for love.
Okay. Well, perhaps I should go through each one very quickly. Aries, for example. Aries is the first star sign in the zodiac. They are warriors. They want a conquest. They want to feel like they have beaten you into submission. So you have to, be helpless and be agreeable and feel and behave as though you are willing to be taken. So, the Aries wants it to be an adventure and an excitement and a conquest. Taurus is very, very sensual. They want romance and beautiful food and restaurants and soft music and that sort of thing. The Taurus is probably the best natural lover in the zodiac. Taurus and Scorpio, I would say, are most comfortable with their bodies, most comfortable with playing around, with exploring, with being willing to discuss it. And I think discussing sex is the most important thing. If you're please move slightly to the left, or not so hard, please, or a little harder, or whatever it is, then we're much more likely to have a better sexual experience. It's just that we generally keep our mouths shut and hope it'll get better by the end of the day. So talking about sex is huge, which is why Geminis, Aquarius, and Librans are usually so much more comfortable with talking about sex and saying what they need and talking about romance and what they mean by intimacy. I think intimacy is the big issue here. Not everyone is comfortable with intimacy. Some people just want to hump and leave, and they don't want it to be something in which they feel that they have exposed themselves and become vulnerable. And this is the big issue about good sex, is allowing yourself to become vulnerable. So
Linda, I've been receiving so many messages, especially from Geminis, and most of the Geminis have been rolling their eyes. Just considering there's so much truth at what you are saying to us right now. Now, should people start asking for their potential love interest star signs before committing and taking things to the next level?
I think it's absolutely essential. It's very corny and it's such a cliche, what is your sign? But I think it's wonderful to know, because then you know what kind of energy you're dealing with. I think it's vital. What is your name and what is your sign on my first two questions? Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Now, Linda, for those that will be going through this fun-to-read lover's manual, what are you hoping they will walk away with?
I'm hoping that they'll walk away with a more comfortable understanding of how their bodies work, how their sexuality works, how to make the most of a sexual experience, how to make the most of their own gifts, and how to improve themselves in terms of love. The whole thing is we can't all be Beethoven, but we can all learn to play the piano. We can all become decent lovers. We can't all become fantastic lovers, maybe. But we can also learn to ask our partners what they want. Who are you? What do you want? What makes you feel good? And a lot of people are very uncomfortable with that. So you can look, for example, at a Pisces and understand a Pisces is going to be very uncomfortable about telling me exactly what they want, but maybe they'll show me. Maybe they will move my hand or, move my body around so I can be willing to adapt to that. If I know that that's what they want, if I know that they're going to be shy and uncomfortable with their bodies, then I'll know perhaps to dim the lights or put the music a little louder so they don't feel so exposed. If you know what kinds of things bother a person in the bedroom, then you can work around it, because, everybody has a way of experiencing their sexuality at its best. And if we're sort of hampered by fears and intimidation and all sorts of other garbage, then it kind of ruins the experience. And if we know a little bit more about what our partner's going to want and what we're going to want, then we can communicate better in different ways. It doesn't have to be verbally. Not everybody wants to say, please touch me on the left.
You know, Linda, going into the new year, what advice do you have for those that are determined, to find themselves and their greatest love?
You know, the wonderful thing about next year, it's a 2022, and the number 2 is the number of relationships. This is the energy, this next year is the energy of finding true love, of finding your great romance, of finding marriage, of finding whatever kind of commitment you want. But you need to know for yourself, what are you looking for? Are you looking for just sex? Are you looking for a great love? Are you looking for commitment? These things you need to know before you go into the situation where you're going to be interacting with somebody else. So you need to ask yourself, what do I want? What am I looking for? And then be clear about that. You know, we tend to sort of waffle around these points because we think, not everybody is presumably looking to get married. But this is not the case. I mean, these days, I actually met somebody the other day who told me she was polyamorous. I didn't have a vaguest clue what that meant. But apparently she has several different lovers, and they all have different lovers, and they all interact with each other and say, can I have Jenny on Thursday? And this is fantastic if you know that these sorts of things are what you're going to want. So next year is all about deciding what kind of relationship do I want and having the courage to ask for it. And, risking rejection, because that's always our biggest fear. So what if we're rejected? Then we go somewhere else.
Yeah, and speaking of rejection and risking rejection, I mean, what's the rate of accuracy of these horoscopes and star signs in terms of wanting to find love? Like, if I'm desperately looking for love, should I go, into my potential lover's star sign and then I would get all the answers there?
Up to a point, definitely. I mean, an astrology chart is quite complicated because we look at the position of all the planets, and the moon, the position of the moon tells you what kind of relationship you're going to be having. But since we don't work since these are not so readily accessible, you need to ask an astrologer, what is your moon sign, and then go into it in more depth. But for what we're working with, knowing your star sign or knowing your sun sign is fantastic. It's enormously helpful. It works pretty much 99% of the time. There are some people who absolutely say that there is no correlation whatsoever between their star sign and their own behavior, but that's often just because they don't know themselves very well, I'm saying. But,
right.
but certainly I think if we know each other's star sign, it's a great place to start. I mean, astrology is a symbolic language. We don't have to use astrology to interact, but it's one way that we know works. I know it works. It's survived for 2,000 years, longer, because it works. But, I would certainly say get to know your lover's star sign, check out what kind of lover they are, what kind of sex they're looking for, what kind of interaction they're looking for, and seek that out,
Okay. Linda, lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for opening our eyes, to this very important subject. And just a quick one, where do we get a copy of this book?
It's available in exclusive books. It's on my website, lindashaw.com, or it's at Amazon, all over.
All right. Lovely chatting to you, Linda. All the best. Hey, thank you.
Thanks very much.
Well, that's award-winning author and renowned astrologer Linda Shaw, and we've been speaking to her about the latest book titled Horoscope Hotties, Finding the Best Lovers in the Zodiac.